and welcome to this wonderful, glorious day, Memorial Day. A lot of people think Memorial Day is a day off from work. Hey, let's go have a party, let's have a picnic. And a lot of them say Happy Memorial Day. And I tell them, it's not very happy for a lot of people, for those who did not come home. Memorial Day is about the veterans. Not just the veterans that are buried here, but veterans throughout our great land. So again, welcome. Color guard, post colors.
Arms. Ordered. Arms.
Let us all join in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Arms. Arms. Parade. Press.
And now I'll say the... Okay, now for a Memorial Day prayer. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, in your hands are the living and the dead. We give you thanks for all those, our comrades who have laid down their lives in service to our country. May they rest in peace, and may light perpetual shine upon them. May the good work of seeking justice for the oppressed and peace for all mankind be regarded with success, that their sacrifices shall not be in vain. And may we never fail to remember the awesome cost of our freedom that we enjoy. All this we ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in singing the first verse of America. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's bride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Thank you, Mary. Now, we will have our veteran, Sol Dickman, an Iraqi veteran with a Memorial Day address. Sol?
No.
Oh, that was next. That was down here. So we'll do that next. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, go ahead and sit.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out today. My name is Sol Diekman. I am a retired Army reservist, and I served a year in Iraq as an 88 Mike. That's a truck driver. I was a fuel hauler in a transportation unit. Looking back on my career in the military, I feel a lot of pride, along with pride for my fellow female soldiers, for overcoming some of the struggles a female soldier must tolerate and overcome in the armed forces. I've seen many changes over the years since I enlisted in 1991. Since 2001, more than 300,000 U.S. women have been deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. A total of 166 women were killed during combat operations, and over 1,000 were wounded. All soldiers who serve, though they may not speak of it, know deep inside they have agreed to lay down their lives for their country and their brothers and sisters in arms. Memorial Day is a day not of celebration, but of recognition and appreciation and remembrance. We tend the graves of the fallen. Remember those who died in service to our country. We remember family and friends lost while in service. I remember also those we have lost after they have come home to suicide. I feel that as deeply as if they had died on the battlefield, because in a sense that is where they obtained the injury that caused their death. May the energy of their souls rest in peace. Throughout history, there have always been a certain group of people who were willing to lay down their lives for their community, the greater good, and their families. Warriors, all of them. Strong, selfless, courageous. Let us appreciate today their sacrifice of those warriors who recently and throughout history laid down their lives. We shall not forget their sacrifice.
Thank you, Sol. Very moving. Okay, now we'll skip back a little bit. On the inside cover, we'll find the American Creed. Let us all say that together. I believe the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the government, a democracy and a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states.
My duty to my country, to love it, to support the Constitution, to obey laws, to respect the flag, and to defend it against all enemies.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And now we'll have a selection by the South St. Paul Corralettes. thank you. Thank you very much. That was very nice. Now, next up, we'll have Lincoln Gettysburg Address. Cecilia Wyckoff will be doing the address. Cecilia.
Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that this nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long forget, what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is for us, rather, to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Thank you, Celia. Thank you, thank you. And now, we'll have another selection of from the South St. Paul Corlets. Mary? And now we'll conduct our memorial service. Comrades, in commemorating with the virtues of our departed heroes who have served their country in time of need, I place this red flower as a symbol of their value, hardiness, and upholding brotherhood of truth. Senior Vice, Sol.
This white flower is placed as a token of the purity of affection and courage we have for our departed comrades.
Junior Vice.
The blue in our national standard symbolizes vigilance, justice, and perseverance. Therefore, we place this blue flower in token of our sincere respect for all departed comrades.
Ladies Auxiliary President.
We place this wreath as a symbol of eternity. Its circle represents life everlasting. Now, we say that the deeds of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, on land, on sea, and in the air, are immortalized in the hearts of a grateful people.
Poppy Girl, front and center. Cover, parade rest. Comrades, we are thankful for those inspiring thoughts. Let us learn the lesson of the hour, which is that we too are nearing the end of our journey, and sooner or later these services may be held in our memory. Let us live with that. When our summons comes, we depart with good conscience, in the comfort of sincere religion, belief in God, perfect charity toward all humankind. We will now have In Flanders Field, read by Anna Marie.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Okay, we will now have Poems from Vietnam from Marcel Love.
Hi, my name is Marshall Alley, and these are my children, Anne Marie and Christopher. My husband served in Vietnam in 1970 and 71. He died 5 months ago of complications from Agent Orange. Because of the exposure to Agent Orange resulting in medical issues, the VA classified him as 100% disabled. The VFW and the American Legion asked me to share a little of his story and to share some of his poetry that fits the Memorial Day theme. John was a draftee who had a low number and was drafted right after receiving his master's degree at UW Superior. With all that education, his assignment was infantry, the 101st, the 506th, and his beloved Alpha Company. He was injured but was able to finish his full year in Vietnam and came home in August 1971. We were married in July 1973. This would have been our 50th anniversary year. John became a poet while he was in Vietnam. First, what I want to read is part of the introduction to his book of poetry. And this is the book I'm reading from. The poems contained in this modest volume exist because I needed a way to deal with the feelings and thoughts and emotions arising from my year-long tour of duty in Vietnam. In Vietnam, writing the poems helped me cope with my present. In the years since, they have helped me deal with the past. Most were written on scraps of paper waiting for night to fall in the jungle. Many of them were lost or trashed soon after I wrote them. Written under circumstances of anger, fear, or doubt, they filled a short-term cathartic purpose. Many were poorly written, others black and raw. They were no great loss. I am under no illusion that the remaining poems are great literature. The memories of my immediate family and the close friends for whom they were intended, I can only say that the experiences that spawned them were and are the real artifacts of that time, not the records in my 201 file or the medals on my wall. Okay. Now, this first poem was not written when he was in Vietnam. It was written at Fort Campbell in 2009. The Alpha Company, the 506, have been strong supporters of the active duty down in Fort Campbell. This is called the American Infantryman. It fits a lot of people. We crossed the beaches of Guadalcanal and the sands of Anzio, through the bone-deep cold of Bastogne snows and the sweltering heat of the Gulf, climbed the rocky slopes of Pork Chop Hill, and looked in the Ashaw Valley. We watched our friends as their eyes went dim on the road to Mandalay. In the river Songbo, in the church at Shiloh, in the hills of the greasy grass. We shouldered our packs, picked up our guns, carried our flag into battles unnumbered. We walked the trails of Bataan and the wilderness, stood our guard at Lexington. We dropped into the gloom of the Normandy moon and thundered into old Baghdad, the swamps and sands and ice of 100 battlefields. We knew pain and hate and shame and fear, and hunger and sorrow and loss. We knew cheers and jeers and curses and tears from the people who sent us to die. And we knew love and pride of the men by our side, as we suffered and fought one more time. We shared strength and hope and faith and love for comrades and flags at home, fought and died and bled and cried to make the curse of war cease. Our bonds across the years and the seas and the tears till we lay down our arms in peace. This is written in Vietnam just before John was able to come home. It's here, I made it. I'm going home at last, for good. I made it, goddammit. Giddy with relief, my travel orders tightly in my hand, I raced from buddy to buddy, saying goodbye, good luck, muttering heart-filled promises to reunite. Frantically packing, the reality sets in. I discard the unneeded artifacts of this time. Rotting socks, rusty medals, the religiously guarded knives and compasses and maps, to make room for the treasured photos, the tattered letters, and the favorite playmates. Then a hasty, awkward embrace and hurried handshake for brothers and friends, eyes downcast, moist, skin flushed with mingled relief and guilt. We say to our friends, and I'm gone. This was written when John first got over there in 1970. Another day is over. Another day, terrible in its monotony, and the awful sameness that dulls the senses and muffles the fear that keeps you alert. The sodden air, stultifying in its heaviness, envelops us, pining to us to the dark leaves and the everlasting mud that form the floor of our rotting universe. We move through the routines of evening with fatigue gasping at our limbs, like the strangling vines around us. There's no relief in the darkness that engulfs us, no cooling breeze, no healing rest, just the foulness of the jungle, magnified by the liquid night. Through the night, as the sounds and smells of nature complete with the residual stench of violence in man, we listen intently for nothing to turn into something. Silently, the night slides away from the dawn. Gratefully, we tick off another day in the journal, another entry in the chronicle of life and death. This last one is called Veterans, and I'm going to have help from my kids here. Okay. It's called Veterans, and this was written later when John was home, looking back. Look at them. They are the veterans. They battled and bled in jungles and deserts and shattered villages, in 1,000 skirmishes, 100 campaigns, a dozen of war. They are the veterans. They left homes and families to serve the nation they love more than life itself. They returned to rebuild their lives. They are the veterans. They sailed endless seas and braved sullen skies to support our friends and confound our enemies. They are the veterans. They mastered 10,000 skills to repair shattered bodies and fix broken machines and restore blessed peace. They are the veterans. They kept the bounty of our farms and the products of our factories free to serve our nation. They are the veterans. Cooks and engineers, policemen and programmers, clerks and commentators, mechanics and medics and more, professionals and draftees, warrior and peacemakers. They did their duty. They are the face of America. They are the veterans. They are our veterans. Is that enough? Okay, thank you.
And now we'll have a reading called My Pledge to Veterans by Griffin Cornier.
According to the Oxford Dictionary, a pledge is a solemn promise or undertaking. Wreaths Across America is a volunteer organization that strives to place a wreath on veterans' graves across our nation every year. As a wreath is laid at each headstone, the veteran's name is spoken aloud. They are remembered. We owe our freedom to those who bravely, selflessly, and heroically fought in so many wars and conflicts. The quote, "All gave some gave all," is more than just pretty words. It is important to remember that we remember the men and women who died for us and the ones who returned alive but changed. Over 1.1 million service members have died in U.S. wars. That is a sobering number. How can we, as a nation and as students, honor the veterans who valiantly charged into the face of danger for us? I want to learn as much as I can to remember veterans who have died and about their sacrifice. I enjoy attending events highlighting military service. One thing that really affected me is when I went to see the replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall last summer. It showed me how many people have sacrificed so much for us in just one war. Recently, I had the opportunity to sleep on a Gato-class World War II submarine. Miraculously, only one man died on this particular submarine. I stood where he stood. I touched the bullet hole where one of the bullets missed hitting him. His name was Ralph Clark Houston, Jr. When we were at the Wreaths Across America event last summer, my family decided to sign up to lay wreaths at Fort Snelling National Cemetery that December. I believe more people should do things that honor our veterans. I was raised to understand the sacrifices that our veterans made. When I was younger, my mom forced me to go to local patriotic events. Now I am the one asking her if we can go to events honoring our veterans. Remembrance. That is my pledge to veterans.
Thank you, Griffin. And now we'll have a music selection from the South St. Paul High School. was great. And now we'll have a reading of the White Headstones. This is Dick Castle.
I walked in the field of white headstones as far as the eye could see, a straight line of snow white markers in perfect symmetry. A white headstone every 8 feet, 4 feet from side to side, walking alone reading names and dates, no need for a guide. It was a field of infinite stillness and peace of counterpoint to war, awaiting the next arrival like those who had come before. Comrades in arms, those lost in battle, and those who had lived on. Their common bond, they served the flag, and now they are gone. The lifespan tells a story, the young ones fell before. The old veteran lies beside them, survivors of their war. But too they were young when called to service. The chance to fight for freedom was an adventure invitation. How many were too young to vote, but not too young to die? They had never heard the bugler's last taps and said goodbye. The stillness was unbroken. There were voices in my head, voices from some long ago wars, voices of all those long dead. I heard one boy say to me, I was one of the first ones here. I died in Miller's cornfield, tempted to run, fought down my fear. Saving the Union, I stood my ground. At Antietam, I did my best. I'm proud for not running at Johnny's red mini ball, caught me in the chest. You were lucky you died quick. For me, it was painful and slow. Hung up on the barbed wire in no man's land, it took me 2 days to go. Saving the world for democracy in the war to end all war, that was the cause we believed in, worth fighting and dying for. Another voice with a bitter edge, his white headstone was new. You knew what you were fighting for. I didn't have a clue. I wasn't killed in Vietnam. There were times I wish I'd been. The angry protests, the bitterness, the score tore me up within. Always light at the end of the tunnel, whoever the hell said that, never drew a nice patrol in the jungle. He was talking through his hat. Your wars had a beginning and end, mine goes on and on. In the National Guard, I was home every night. Came Iraq, and I am gone. Two tours late in Afghanistan, a roadside bomb got me the 3 others. I watched them get blown apart. We were more than friends, more like brothers. There must be millions of voices like these, with stories forever untold, buried beneath the white headstones, voices put on eternal hold. For serenity of their final resting place, and now's hallowed ground, the solace they may have missed in life, in death may have been found. I walked in that field of white headstones as far as the eye can see. I knew one day, not very far off, there'd be one there for me.
Okay, stand by, firing squad.
Present arms.
Fight. Order arms.
Order arms.
Rest.
This concludes our ceremony. Just want to say thank you all for coming out on this glorious day. And you are all invited to come down to our post for a quick refreshment, picnic style. If you don't know where the post is, 15th Avenue right out here. Head north till you hit Thompson. Go right, go 1 block, right on the corner of 14th and Thompson. Our entrance is on the east side of the building. And I say again, you're all invited. Again, thank you for coming out, and drive carefully.